I keep seeing all this bickering online between supposedly liberal commentators. It all seems to have started with the push to get Medicare for all passed. This push to get it passed seemed to me, I'm not against Medicare for all, but it seemed to me that this was an impossible task because we have a president now who said it was a campaign promise, and that doesn't mean they all keep their promises during a campaign, but usually if it's negative, they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. If they say we're not going to do that, they're not going to do it. If they say they're going to do it, they're probably not going to do it. But especially if they say they're not going to do something, they're probably not going to do it. You can say, I want to push them to the left, all you want to. But Joe Biden, in 50 years of public service on the national scene, has never been a leftist of any substance. And all this barking back and forth about who's really liberal, who's really on the left, who's really a progressive. It reminds me of that scene in Family Guy where Brian, the dog, is taking a ride in the car and he sees a dog in another car and he gets all alert and he's like, hey, you, in that other car, fuck you. It seems like that's what's going on with the supposedly progressive left right now. Just everybody's seeing somebody else doing stuff. It's like, hey, you, fuck you, I'm doing this. You're not saying what I'm saying, so you can't be true. You can't be real. You must be a Republican in disguise. You must be a conservative in disguise. Yeah, it's so annoying. It's really just just do your own thing, man. Just don't even pay attention to the others. Just do your own thing. I'm not talking to anybody specifically. I'm talking to everybody. Just do your own thing. Do you. Report on things, comment on things the way you think they should be commented on and reported on, instead of yelling and barking at the other people trying to do what they think is right or what they think they can get away with saying or whatever. Ignore them. Who cares? Don't care. Just do you. But when it comes to Medicare for all, I'm all for it, although we have a president who said, quote unquote, if Congress passes Medicare for all, I will veto it. He said that very, very dramatically. He said it emphatically. He said he's not for Medicare for all. He's for a public option. And if we're going to get anything, it's going to be public option. So where do you go from there? You either wait for the next president, who also probably would do the same thing, or take a lesson from the people legalizing cannabis, state by state. That seems to be the way to go. Cannabis and shrooms and other psychedelics becoming legal for the first time in spite of Joe Biden's wishes, because he was one of the leading people against all of this, and he has been, again, for the past 50 years, ever since Nixon was around starting that drug war. Joe Biden's been there. He was there through Reagan enhancing the drug war, and Bill Clinton against any kind of, even though a lot of these people were potheads and cocaine addicts in their younger days, they still, even Jerry Brown, for Christ's sake, you people are too young to know these things, I know, but even people that were way pro-marijuana and other substances in their day when they were younger are against it now. So what can you do? You work with your state. Here in North Carolina right now, it's not the Democrats trying to get cannabis, medical marijuana passed. It's mainly the Republicans and the Democrats are fighting against it for the most part. They're really trying to make it so it's, yeah, we want to be able to help people, but we don't want people using it recreationally. So we're going to make the rules on it very, very stringent, so that you have to have a doctor's permission to let us know that you're recovering from cancer, you're in some sort of therapy that requires you to relax. But you see the dominoes falling. It's happening state by state. It's not just Colorado and Oregon now. It started with Colorado and Oregon, and now it's like it's Virginia, Alabama, lots and lots of places. So why don't we pick a state where we get Medicaid for all passed? It could be Colorado, it could be Oregon, it could be Virginia, it could be Alabama. It could find a state where there's enough people in the state legislature willing to pass Medicaid for all, which is the state form of Medicare for all. And then get that going. And over the course of a couple of years, the dominoes will fall. More and more states will pass Medicaid for all. And eventually, that will lead to Medicare for all. But forcing the vote, forcing Congress on the federal level to either say they're going to do it when they can say anything, they can say whatever they want. Yeah, I'm for it. Kamala Harris said she was for it. But that doesn't mean she's necessarily going to vote for it when the time comes to vote for it. Joe Biden's going to veto it. If Joe Biden's out of the way, she's going to be in office, and we'll see what happens with her. I don't know. I don't have high hopes for her being for Medicare for all, even though she said during the campaign that she was for it. Now, she said a lot of things during the campaign, and then she told Stephen Colbert, well, I was lying. She called Joe Biden a racist, and how come you're the vice president now if you think he's a racist? Well, I was lying. It was a debate. I was lying. Well, that's what we'll have with Kamala Harris. She went to the Hillary Clinton charm school, I think. Anyway, I think the way to get Medicare for all finally passed is to do it state by state, get Medicaid for all passed in as many states as possible, and then people will see this great experiment working and how it actually saves the government money to take care of its people, instead of letting people go into bankruptcy because their medical bills are too high. So some of them like the system the way it is. I know. They've got some sort of a scam going on where they're making a lot of money on the system the way it is, and they don't want to change it. But there's other people that are more compassionate and are starting to see that if this went into effect, it's not going to turn United States of America, into a socialist country or anything like that. It's just going to be a more compassionate country, and also it's going to save money. It's going to save money.
WreckingBallRadio.net